Hello everyone, Gary Waterman, a former police officer here. I'm going to give you an update and show you some really important documents that just seems to be evidence and supporting how serious this matter really is, and that it could be national fraud involving the government and police and being committed against the people in relation to taxation where they could be being defrauded. It's really quite serious. Don't forget, I was part of this organisation as a police officer. I had no idea that this was going on. So there could be many people. In fact, most people within the police probably don't even know this is happening, or within the government. I hope that's the case anyway. And it's really quite worrying. Don't forget, I was a victim in all of this. Okay, so it's indiscriminate crime, and it's really worrying. That's all appearing to be the case. So let me some of these I have shown you before. I'm just going to go over some of them because they link in quite heavily to the newest information I'm going to give you, which is really quite worrying indeed, and you'll see why. So this is a document found on the Companies House website. Anyone can look at this. If you go into the company name, into the filing section, it's one of the first documents, and it's one of the incorporation documents for our company, Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited. Okay, now I am still part of that company. I'm a shareholder for that company. I was a director. Okay, this company was incorporated in 2007. I became a director, I believe, in 2009. If you look on the Companies House records, you can see that. Now, this is what's really important. A company called Swift Incorporations Limited was involved in the setting up of this company. Okay, I believe they were acting as a temporary secretary or director, one of those. Anyway, please remember, Swift Incorporations Limited connected to the startup of my company. This all becomes very relevant, and you'll see. So now if we look at the Swift Incorporation's Companies House record itself, first of all, let me just explain that in July 2022, I started to identify apparent fraud within the accounts of our company, Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited. Wanted to look at the bank accounts. The acting chairman resigned, the management company resigned, 2 other directors resigned, all very serious. I then started reporting everything to Dorset Police, the local police, the action fraud. It then got escalated to the Serious Fraud Office, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Dorset, David Sidgwick, and members of Parliament and the Home Office. All have refused to intervene. Everybody's refused to get evidential statements from Lloyds Bank to confirm if these apparent fake documents are fake or not. Okay, it now sits with the Police and Crime Commissioner, David Sidgwick, for Dorset area, to establish how he's going to move forward with this. Anyway, so just remember, it's all been reported to the police. I've done all the right things. Nobody seems to be doing anything with it. So these are the Company House records for Swift Incorporation Limited. Again, anybody can look at this. Now, they're a very well-established company. 1985, okay, they incorporated. Don't forget, this was the company that was used to start up my company, Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, and they've been trading since 1985. However, on 29th of August 2023, very recently, they applied to dissolve the company and strike it off from the Companies House register. Is that a coincidence? I'll let you decide. Okay, now it gets more interesting. Let's go to the next document. So I've shown you these before, but I just want to show them because it links in heavily. So this is an article from September, okay, 2023, by the Daily Echo, and it shows that Dorset Police, okay, are involved in an investigation in relation to a company called Initiative Property Management Limited in relation to fraud. Okay, now that's a management company. A lot of my stuff around my building relates to apparent fraud with the management companies. Bear that in mind. It's very relevant, and the timing of this, don't forget, is very relevant. However, Dorset Police have refused to investigate and said there's no further action being taken in relation to my investigation, even though there was substantial evidence. I'm a former police officer, and there was substantial evidence showing that fraud had been identified and was being committed in relation to my building. However, discontinuing that, but investigating this company. Please remember that, Initiative Property Management Limited. Now, I suspect this was all an attempt to destroy evidence in relation to what I'm going to tell you. So, next document. This is the Company House records. I've shown this before, but I just want to go through it again to explain how relevant it is. So Company House records for that management company, okay, that's being investigated, Initiative Property Management. Anybody can look at this, Initiative Property Management Limited. If you go into the Company's House record under the People section, you can see Stephen Greeny. If you go into Stephen Greeny, there's Sandling Management Company Limited. If you go into Sandling Management Company Limited, there we have Swift Incorporations Limited. Okay, the same company that we used to start up my company, okay, in 2007, and the same company that has suddenly, very recently in August 2023, applied to dissolve the company. Okay, please remember that. Next document. Now, this is going to be new information now. Now, hopefully in my last few videos, you'd have remembered that I said there was a shareholder within my company who told me in emails that she was a former NHS chief executive and that she was in charge of a £700 million budget, okay, and in charge of 10,000 staff. In charge of 10,000 staff. Now, I know full well that she has told me she was friends with the accountant who had been filing our accounts using what I suspect to be forged bank documents produced by the bank for years. Okay, and she was friends with that accountant, or certainly had used that accountant for her companies. We'll come on to that in a minute. That's the information I've got in writing, that she had been using, okay, that accountant to do the accounts for her companies. Please remember that. Now, those documents are very clearly forged. I've shown another video in relation to that. Anyway, that shareholder, this is just information confirming that what that shareholder said was correct in relation to her being a former chief executive, okay, for the NHS. Okay, she resigned in 2022. She had an OBE for her services to the NHS. Okay, she also mentions in this, article, okay, that she, as a joint chief executive for both Paulin Hospital and the Royal Bournemouth and Christchurch and Hospital, okay, and they led a merger, and please, you can pause this and read it, okay, a merger, she had a long career with the NHS, etc., okay, and that here, chief executive for both Paul Bournemouth Hospital, both Paul Hospital and the Royal Bournemouth Hospital in Christchurch, then led a merger with two organisations, is now very proud to be chief executive for University Hospitals Dorset NHS Foundation Trust. Okay, here we go. This is why this gets really interesting now and really quite worrying. Now, I am not saying that these other companies are involved in fraud. We have to consider that they all could be, but I'm not saying they are. I'm just showing you the information on the companies, on the public register, the Companies House records in relation to this. As you can see, this is this person's record, okay. It shows that they are an Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, okay, director. Now, she proposed to have me removed as a director from the company and reinstate the former acting chairman who had resigned when I looked into the bank accounts. That actually happened. I was resigned. This lady now became a director. And these are her other companies. Now, listen to this. Now, read into this what you will. Okay, these are other companies. You can see you've got Bournemouth and Paul Healthcare Trust is one of them, okay. If you look into their Companies House records, okay, here we go, Bournemouth and Paul Healthcare Trust. It links through, okay, to a company, this company. Now, that company was part of their incorporation involved this company under Barbara Cahan. Remember that, of an address in Finchley Road, okay, on the startup, I believe, of that company. Yeah, 2nd of March, this company started. This company was started again, involved under Barbara Cahan in the startup of that company. Please remember that. We'll come to that in a minute. So, here we go. So this is a news article as well in relation to the Betsy Cadwallader fraud. Some of you might have heard of this. It was in... when was this article? I'm trying to find it. There is somewhere that says the article. Oh, there you go. So May 2023, this year, okay, this information came out. It was in relation to investigation launched after 122 million was found missing from the Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board accounts in Wales. Now, if you go into the Betsy Limited Companies House records, you will see a company, again, a temporary secretary and nominee, director company called Waterlow Secretaries, okay, set up in relation to the beginning of that company in 2000, I believe the beginning of that company in 2002. Okay, now Waterlow Secretaries, here you go, they have over 47,000 companies appointed to them or connected to them in some way in relation to Companies House. Waterlow Nominees Limited, also connected to Betsy, has over 44,000. Okay, so please remember that. Now, here is where things get very interesting. Bearing in mind, Swift Incorporations Limited is linked to my company, to Initiative Property Management Limited, who is being investigated by Dorset Police. Okay, and they've suddenly, in August 2023, even though they've been trading since 1985, in August 2023, they are trying to dissolve the company. Now, AstraZeneca UK Limited was started up by Swift Incorporations Limited. Now, as you know, AstraZeneca, hopefully you're aware, is involved in the production of the antivirus for COVID. Okay, so the vaccine, for COVID. And the same company that's now just trying to dissolve was involved in starting up that company. It was also involved in starting up the AstraZeneca China UK Limited company. It was also involved in AstraZeneca Japan Limited starting up. Now I'll let you draw your own conclusion. Is that a coincidence? Okay, let's move forward. Okay, you've also got Pfizer Limited. Now Pfizer was involved in starting up the another vaccine, okay, in relation to the virus. If you look into their company's house record, you've got a company called Downstreet Freehold Limited. Again, a management or freehold company, very relevant to what I'm involved in. My company is a freehold company, okay, and we were using management companies in relation to that. Now they are linked, so it goes from Pfizer Limited to this company to Waterloo Secretaries Limited, the same company that was involved, okay, in the Betsy Cadwallader company. Now, I am not saying any of these companies are involved in fraud in any way. I'm just presenting the information to you so that you can see, and anybody can look at this. I'm not doing anything wrong. Okay, I'm just showing you the company's record. Now, this is on Wikipedia and it's in relation to dummy corporations. I'm going to read some of this to you. A dummy corporation, dummy company, or false company is an entity created to serve as a front or cover for one or more companies. It can have appearance of being a real company, okay, but lacks the capacity to function independently. The dummy corporation's sole purpose is to protect an individual or another corporation from liability in either contract or import. Typically, dummy companies are established in an international location, usually by the creator's attorney or bagman, to conceal the true owner of the often illegitimate and empty company. Dummy corporations may be created to avoid tax through disguising the true profits of corporations. They can also, here, fraudsters may set up a dummy corporation to create the illusion that they are an existing corporation with a similar name, similar to the pump and dump scheme. Fraudsters mislead investors in order to sell securities in the dummy corporation. In the case, making investors incorrectly believe. In this case, making investors incorrectly believe that they are buying shares in the real corporation. The sale of securities through a fraudulent corporation is inherently illegal. Now, if you recall back on, linked to the shareholder, I won't go to it, but you remember Barbara Kahan was involved in the startup of one of those companies linked to the NHS, okay, funding regarding the former chief executive in charge of £700 million budget. And this is an article by the Ham and High, okay, and this was back in 12th of September 2019, okay, you can see there. Now remember, that Barbara Kahan record on Companies House was Finchley Road. Now I'm going to read this to you. How derelict Finchley Road office was home to tens of thousands of firms and unwittingly linked to mafia dictators and fraud. Okay. Now, won't skip it. Basically, it says that there's hundreds of thousands of companies, okay, involved in this situation where they use a temporary secretary and a temporary director to start up the company to avoid any liability in relation to any illegal or immoral activity, for example, money laundering, fraudulent activity, etc., etc. He even mentions Barbara Kahan there, okay? So around 30,000 companies were set up in the name of Barbara Kahan. An initial director is typically appointed to a newly formed company but resigns as soon as the company is sold. Has no involvement in the ongoing business. When we visit her, so they went and visited her, carer told they gave no comment. Okay, so now this was in 2019, and it says analysis of public records. Okay, sorry, it's the same bit there, but it says the same thing here. These are sections taken from that article, okay, because I've had to copy and paste it in because there's advertisements and stuff like that. Anyway, it says, but analysis of public records shows that unbeknownst to formation agents who form these companies, other clients went on to use their bespoke or off-the-shelf companies to facilitate corruption, money laundering and massive financial fraud costing millions of pounds to British taxpayers. There's a bit also I'd like to say at the beginning here in relation to it. Okay, this abandoned office, so Finchley Road we're talking, is the birthplace of 260,000 companies, including some pressed into service by corrupt politicians and criminals across the globe, as sweeping reforms are planned for the UK corporate register. Okay, now I won't read all of this. It says here, its authors said evidence from UK law enforcement suggests companies deployed in criminal activity are overwhelmingly use third-party agents wittingly or unwittingly to help conceal their identities. A scrape of online data as Temple secretaries, now they factor a lot everywhere, reveals over 69,000 records attached to this name alone. In 2017, a report by anti-corruption watchdog Transparency International found 66 company factories like this one, sometimes called boiler rooms in the UK, with more than 1,000 active companies at each address. These nondescriptive buildings house thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of firms offering the respectable appearance of a UK company address, while in reality representing little more than a mailbox. Okay, it goes on to... Okay, this is interesting. On the same report, again, I'm not saying this is going on now. However, it's very relevant now. This was May 2019. Okay, apparently a Ukrainian dictator, Viktor Yanukovych, the ousted former leader of Ukraine, stole around 40 billion in state assets and was sentenced to 13 years in prison in absentia by a Ukrainian court earlier this year, so that's 2019. He and his associates used shell companies to launder £700 million between 2018 and 2014, according to the court. Documents retrieved from the presidential palace cited their ownership. Okay, and they've just mentioned a couple of companies. So the question is, if this information was available in 2019, why are the government allowing companies that appear to be linked to this, and it could easily be part of a fraudulent system to defraud taxpayers' money? Why are they allowing them, or companies linked to them, to be involved in the production of the vaccine for the virus, COVID virus? This requires explanations. I'm not saying all these companies are involved, but my goodness me, there needs to be some explanations in this. I hope they give some soon. Now we do have to come around. We do have to be calm about all of this, rational, and I don't think these people have families and children. I can't believe that they are comfortable if they're part of this for this to go on. I certainly wouldn't be. But yeah, let's. I just thought I could put that information out to you. I don't know what's going to happen to me over all of this. I've just got to present what appears to be the truth. I've been affected. Other people could be being affected. If people's health's being affected, I have a moral obligation, I believe, to put this information out there, especially if there's a crime being committed against the people as a result of this. Anyway, God bless you all. Thanks for listening. Sorry about another long video. God bless. Bye.